What is corrective exercise? So a lot of times we think about exercise or fitness, we think about riding the bike, running, lifting weights, swimming, something along that nature. What I learned for myself personally, as I was experiencing a lot of pain, was the more I exercised, the worse I started to feel. And I didn't know what the solution was. And some people go to drugs and things along that nature. There's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't really solve why we can't do our fitness. So what a corrective exercise, it looks at something called a fundamental pattern. So our brain doesn't really think muscles, it thinks patterns. And it all started from our early childhood development. We were excited when the baby could sit up. We were excited when the baby crawled for the first time. They crawled, they rolled, they crawled and they climbed and they got up into a squat and they stood up and they took their first step. So these are the fundamental patterns that all humans have. And when you go to the gym and do fitness, what you're doing is loading the pattern you already have. So when I was going to the gym and squatting, I was having a lot of back pain. And what I was calling a squat wasn't really a squat. What it was is I was using my back to move the weights. I wasn't using my hips. And I had a hard time getting into the squat pattern. That's a thing between your brain and your body. So if you have some joints that aren't functioning well, what your body does is it'll compensate. You can still squat, not optimally, but you can still get the job done. However, that's a compensation. And what happens is over time of squatting incorrectly, it shows up as an injury or stiffness or back pain. So squatting's not bad for you, running's not bad for you, racquetball's not bad for you, and all the things, the fitness things that we do that we blame for the reason why we have pain, the fitness just reveals that when you put your body under stress, that something's not functioning well. So where we go to that is with the correctional exercise. Now I like Gray Cook's FMS, Functional Movement Screen, which looks at the 7 basic fundamental patterns that we have. It offers some suggestions to correcting it. However, it's a framework to work in. It's a great baseline to see how well your body's functioning from a basic level. And what a correctional exercise does, let's suppose you have a faulty squat pattern, it would look at why you can't squat and then what to do about it. Do you need stretching? Do you need to go see a chiropractor? Do you need some joint mobilization because you have stiff joints? Do you have tight tissue that you need to do some specific stretches? And then what you do is you work the pattern because the brain thinks patterns. It doesn't think muscles. So when you go to squat, your brain doesn't go, I'm going to try to use my quad more than my hamstring. It would try to use as many muscles as possible to create the lift and decrease stress on the body. It's called spreading the load. And Pavel, the guy who made kettlebells famous, talks about that, spreading the load. So your brain never thinks a single muscle individual. It thinks, what's the most effective and efficient way for me to do this and be under tremendous loads and not really be affected? So if you spread load, then it's no big deal. A great example of spreading load is I want to hook up 100,000 Christmas lights to one electrical socket. Since I'm putting it all into one socket, it's going to blow the circuit. So that's what happens when we put too much pressure into one joint. You start to get joint pain. What's not happening is you're not spreading load to other joints and you're loading one joint inappropriately. Now, you usually go to the doctor for that joint that's hurting and people treat that. However, they don't answer the more fundamental question is, why is that joint hurting? Because your body's not designed to do that. So correctional exercise gets into answering all those questions, sort of habilitates or reconnects you to old fundamental things like crawling, learning how to weight shift and keep your balance while still breathing, and kind of integrates that all again and have your body move back to its old pattern. So what's available for the person is the energy that a child has is still there. However, if you're using a lot of other muscles, you'll just be working against yourself and you're always tight and you wear yourself out. You see this in elderly people who walk a few steps and they're exhausted. It's like they're using max muscle effort just to move. But if you connect to those fundamental patterns through some correctional exercise, your body will open back up. It'll give you the energy. You'll feel 20 to 30 years younger. You'll feel awesome again and your pain goes away. So that's why I really embrace correctional exercise. And I use that in my office to help people rehabilitate. And I also use it when I train people at the gym to help them train at more effective levels. A more concerned about the pattern they're getting ready to load than I am about the weights. It's easy to put weights on the pattern, but if the pattern's flawed, then there's a problem. So this covers a little bit today of about correctional exercise and why you might want to look into that. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.